STDs, unwanted pregnancies, stigma for the LGBTQ, and sexual assault. All of these things can be prevented and decreased when children in public schools in America receive comprehensive sex education. Today, I will be discussing the work that Psychus, Sex Ed for Social Change does, and how their efforts can create a future where our children can make informed decisions about their own sexual experiences. As the Psychus website states, sex ed sits at the nexus of many social justice movements, from LGBTQ rights and reproductive justice to the Me Too movement and urgent conversations around consent and healthy relationships. Sex education is more important today than it ever has been, and it is our job to ensure that every child receives a comprehensive sex education. We're going to begin by talking about what the problem is and how Psychus plans to change it. The problem is that sex education that most children across America are receiving right now is not working. But why isn't it working? The CDC did a nationwide map of teen birth rates per state in 2022. California, which is one of the three states where comprehensive sex education curriculum is required, had a teen birth rate of 9.8 per 1,000 girls aged 15 to 19. In Arkansas, no sex education is required to be taught in public schools, but in the schools that it is taught, it is an abstinence only until marriage based education curriculum. Arkansas teen birth rate is 24.6 per 1,000 and the second highest in the nation, right behind Mississippi, which has a similar curriculum standard. Oregon and Washington are the only other states that require comprehensive sex education to be taught, and they are both ranked fairly low as well. Psychus did a study with around 1,700 children aged 15 to 19 to see what kind of sex education they received through high school, church, or family members and the impact that it had on them. Psychus states that the study showed that receiving information about birth control and formal sex education was associated with a 50% lower risk of teen pregnancy when compared to receiving information only about abstinence. This study is proof that sex education is both effective and necessary for all high school age children. Now that we've identified the problem, let's talk about what can be done and what Psychus is currently doing and plan on doing in the future. So, what are they doing? Psychus's mission is to advance sex education through advocacy, policy, and coalition building. Psychus does an abundance of work in these fields, and they educate advocates and policymakers about providing rights based sexuality information and education at the federal, state, and local levels. Psychus provides an array of resources for parents, children, and schools. They state all pre kindergarten through 12th grade teachers should receive training that aligns with the professional learning standards for sex education in order to be able to address potential issues and questions about sexuality. This is incredibly important because oftentimes teachers are not given any training in sex education, and they can say the wrong things and say things that may be offensive to children. So, having all teachers go through training would be incredibly beneficial. They also believe that students have a right to a broad education, one that covers more than just one religious belief. They state education institutions should provide platforms for students to engage in constructive discussions, allowing them to explore different perspectives and develop a deeper understanding of complex issues free from censorship. Now that we have reviewed the work that Psychus is doing to spread comprehensive sex education, let's take a look at why people don't agree with it, but why they should. A common misconception about sex education is that it promotes sexual activity to high school aged children, which is one thing that a lot of parents don't like about sex education. Very Well Health, an organization that works in many different departments of overall health, comments over the past 20 years, numerous studies have consistently shown that teaching comprehensive sex education in schools doesn't encourage kids to start having sex sooner or have it more often. Another issue that parents have with the comprehensive sex education curriculum is that they think that it overlooks religion. Comprehensive sex education still teaches about abstinence and how it is the only way to prevent pregnancy completely. And while a lot of parents don't want their child to have sex before marriage, we must understand that they are going to make their own decisions. And it is best for them to know how to prevent pregnancy and STDs, whether they choose to wait until marriage or not. Now that we have discussed the costs and benefits of having comprehensive sex education in schools, let's summarize what we've talked about. In conclusion, although not everybody agrees with having comprehensive sex education in public schools nationwide, the benefits of it outweigh the cost. Psychists and the work they do to spread comprehensive sex education allows high school students to make informed decisions for themselves and gives them a complete understanding of bodily autonomy, pregnancy prevention methods, and respectful and consensual sex practices. As we've talked about, the current sex education curriculum in many states is not benefiting our children. The best solution to children receiving a proper education is implementing comprehensive sex education nationwide. Thank you. I never know how to stop this. Okay, stop.